Okay, we'll be starting our class. Today we'll be discussing about the Visual Basic statements. Okay, you all know what is a statement actually, right? Generally in C programming, when we learn about that anything that ends with a semicolon is denoted as a statement. We use it to study, right? Like that, Visual Basic also has a statement, different types of statements. So, what is a statement? A statement is nothing but a complete instruction in a program. A statement is nothing but a complete instruction in a program. So, in Visual Basic, whenever we want to give an instruction to the application, we will be giving, we will be writing the code in the form of statements. But in Visual Basic, there is no semicolon. We are not using any semicolon to end a statement. Okay, there are two types of Visual Basic statements. One is the declaration statement and the other one is executable statement. Actually, uh, as we are following our textbook, there are only two types of statements, declaration and executable statements. But there is also another kind of statement that is called assignment statement. So a declaration statement, let us know what is a declaration statement, what is an executable statement. Okay, so a declaration statement is nothing but whenever you declare a name, like we will be creating a name, right? Whenever we will be declaring a name, uh, name of a variable, whenever we will be declaring a constant or a procedure, okay, whenever we will specify a data type, then we are calling it as a declaration statement. So then we are calling it as a declaration statement, which means that, let me tell you, whenever, can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, how is it in a presentation mode, in a PPT mode? How are you seeing the screen?
PPT, ma'am.
Presentation, like presentation it is.
Type of
Okay.
statements, sir.
Yes, can you see what I'm writing on the thing? Declaration statements. Can you see?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In the declaration statement, what do we do whenever we are using a particular variable? In Visual Basic, we are using the keyword called dim, D-I-M. D caps, I small and M. Dim we are using. Okay, Ram, just confirm me. Can you see what I'm writing on the screen?
Declare by demand.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, dim is a keyword that we are using whenever we are declaring a variable in a Visual Basic. Okay, in so declaration statements are nothing but whenever we want a particular variable in our program or a constant or a procedure, we have to create that particular variable. This creation part is known as the declaration. So in Visual Basic, dim is a keyword that we are using to declare a variable, I said. So dim, what variable? For example, I want to declare a variable called L, dim, L as. So as. Which data type? You want it as integer or float? Which data type you want? That also we should be specifying here. Dim L as. So this I am calling it as the declaration. So whatever the variables or the program elements that we are using in our program, they should be declared first. So the first variety of statements are declaration statements. What are the second variety of statements? Executable statements, which means nothing but they will start or execute a particular action. So the action that has to be done through our program or through our application will be specified with the executable statements. I hope you are following. So if I am telling change the color, if I am trying to change the font of a particular, last time we have seen some of the applications. In the application, what we have done, we have increased the size of the font. So this is the instruction that we are giving to the application to change the size of the letters that we are or font that we have written. So executable statements contain some set of actions to be done. Okay, they will start or initiate an action. Okay, so these statements can call a method or a function. These executable statements, because they have to do some action or some task to be completed, they can call a method or a function, and they can loop or branch through blocks code. Okay, so let us discuss what are the executable statements that will be included, because these executable statements will have a specific set of code to be written. Like we are telling here, the statements can call a method or function. The method and function will be part of, it will be between these braces in generally in a C program. Okay, and they can loop or branch through block of code. So this, if I say this is the block of the code, these executable statement, either they can loop within this set of code, or they can branch to a particular location and again check checks the condition and again execute this part of the code, like so the executable statements are nothing but the statements which will initiate or start an action to be done by the list of statements. If my statement is telling, like if I say I plus plus, I is equal to 1, I plus plus, what happens? I will be incremented. This is an executable statement. So what action is done? The I is initialized to 1 and it is incremented to by one particular number, I plus plus. Then what will be the I value? I will be 2. Like that, this is an executable statement. Whereas declaration statement will be when I try to declare this particular variable I, dim I, as integer. Okay, this is declaration and this is executable statement. I hope you are clear about the point. What are the declaration statements and what are the executable statements? So Visual Basic has two types of statements. In Visual Basic, we are going to discuss about these two type of statements: selection statement and iteration statement. What is a selection statement? What is an iteration statement? Okay, so working with the selection statements, let us discuss about the first category of statements, that is selection statements. I think you know what is a selection statement. So a selection statement is nothing but a statement which will change the flow of execution. What is a selection statement? Statements that change the flow of execution. One second. Check. Okay. Statements that change the flow of a program. How do they change the flow of a program? Based on a specific condition. What is that condition? If I say based on a specific condition means how that condition will be checked. What could be the condition that we are going to define there? Based on a condition. If I say a condition, that based on the condition, if you are present from the starting of the class to the completion of the class, then only you will be considered as present for the class. If you leave in between, you are not allowed to be considered as the present. Then what is the condition I am giving? You should be staying throughout the class without leaving from the class in between, or going away and joining again multiple times cannot be considered. You should be throughout the class from the beginning to the end. That is my condition to give you attendance, isn't it? So that is a condition I am telling. If the condition is met, then only attendance will be given. So likewise, in Visual Basic also, the selection type of statements will be based on a specific condition. If the condition is met, then a list of statements will be executed. Okay? If the condition is not met, those statements will not be executed. That particular part will be skipped and the next list of statements will be executed. Okay? How this condition can be? How the condition can be executed, or what is a condition? Okay? The condition can be a Boolean expression. The condition can be a Boolean expression. True or false? Obviously, condition is a Boolean expression because if the condition is met, then a sequence of code will be executed. If the condition is not met, that particular sequence will be neglected, or we can say ignored, and the next list of statement will be executed. So that is why the condition is a Boolean expression which will be checked before the execution of a particular block of the code. Okay. So in Visual Basic, there are two types of selection statements. There are two types of statements, selection statements. So which we call as if else statement, and the second category is select case statement. You may tell there is not a single if statement. There are two types of statements, if else statement and select case statement. So you have to follow the, what do we say, the case of the letters that we are using. If it is a capital case, it should be a capital. If it is a small case, it should be a small case. That should be taken care. So there are two types of statements. One is the if else statements and the other one is the selection statement. Let us discuss about if else statement first. Okay. I said this is a recorded session. You should be very careful. Okay. First one, if else statement. What is if else statement? Generally, the syntax for the if else statement will be, if a specific condition will be given, if this condition is not met, what happens? That block of code will be ignored. If the condition is met, that particular block of code will be executed. So first one is if condition. Let me just share you another thing here. Am I sharing my entire screen, or can you see the notepad I am presenting here?
Slides ఉన్నాయి మ్యామ్. PPT.
Only slide you can see. Okay, you cannot
ma'am.
see anything other than that. Okay, let me share you the entire screen so that we can discuss. Okay, I'm sharing my entire screen to all of you. Okay, what is the syntax for the if else statement? Like you all know, the condition for the one second, let me enlarge this size. If condition, condition is nothing but then. This is the format you should be following. If condition, then list of statements will be executed. Okay, then comes the else if part. Else space, there is no space for the if, but you have to remember e caps and I caps. Then else if condition, then here comes the else if statements. This is the syntax, students, you should note it down. Okay, then comes the actual else part. Else, else statements. Okay, then comes the end if. Any statement that is started should be properly ended. End space if, within which I is a caps 1, E is a capital 1. So this is the syntax that we should be following for the if else statement. If the condition, then a list of statements, else if condition, then else if statements, then finally the else part, then in the else part, the else statements will be executed and the if condition is ended finally. So this is the syntax for the else if statement. I hope all of you are following. Let us do a program here. Before I start that, just make sure that whenever you are writing a specific code in Visual Studio or Visual Basic in .NET programming, you should list out the sequence of steps. First, what are we doing? First, we will start the Visual Studio. Then we'll click on the file. From the file, select new project. New project has to be selected. Okay, select the new project. This sequence of steps should be followed every time and it should be mentioned in your programs every time you are asked to write a program. Okay, this is the best practice. Then what do we do? When we selected a new project, then go to Visual Basic. So this is the Visual Basic you have to select. There will be list of templates or list of languages that are available in our particular Visual Studio. In that, whichever language you want to select, that you will select. Ma silent gundandi pillalu. Okay, in this Visual Basic, what are we going to select? We have to select first the console applications. If you are developing any Windows application, then you can go for the Windows application. But right now we are going to use the if else statement, which can be developed in console mode only. That is why I'm selecting in console application. And the name for the program that I want to name is if else. The name of the code is if else. You know the location. This is in eDrive JR.NET application. Okay, I have named the program and I am going to click on OK. So a console application will be opened for me. It is taking little time. Okay. So this is the console mode of the Visual Basic, in which the module is this predefined. See, it is the start of the module 1. It is divided into, our console applications are divided into different modules. Okay, this is the first module we are developing in the Visual Basic. So that is why module 1. And main, this is the main function within which we are going to write our code. This is predefined. Okay, within which we are going to write our instructions. So first I am going to create a variable dim number. Okay, caps lock is on. Dim number. As see, it is prompting me next to, as soon as dim keyword is used and number is typed, it is prompting me next should be as. So like this, since this is a graphical user interface and it is IDE, okay, user interaction will be more here, and system will be prompting, not user interaction. Whenever you are trying to write a code, it will be prompting you with a list of available code. Now dim, I am selecting dim number as I want an integer data type. So integer, automatically it is given there. So I am selecting it. Dim number as integer. See, you can see here all blue letters, which are system specific. So they should be in that particular format only. Okay, you can say they are the keywords. Whenever you are writing, I want to write console dot write. So I want to write an output statement, console write, like we give the prompt to the system. Generally, in a sample program, what do? We want the system to prompt to enter a particular number. So I have declared the number and I'm trying to give a prompt to the system to ask me to enter a number. So console.write is a method that I am using to give a prompt to the or to write the output statement. Okay, then number n caps. While I was declaring here, I have used n as caps, right? So I'm writing n as caps only. Number is equal to int 32 dot parse console dot read line. Okay. So what am I doing here? See, number is a data type. Okay. So when number is a data type, which data type? It is an integer data type. So let me just complete the program first, then I'll explain. If number less than 10, then Okay. If number less than 10, then the console should be prompting console dot write line. So, before we have used write statement, now I am using write line. Number is less than 10. Thank God, power came. Okay. So students, what are we doing here is, before I started my code, in this I have declared a variable called integer variable, number. Number is my variable name, and it is an integer type. Dim as integer are keywords. Okay. Next, what am I doing? I'm trying to send some output, write some output statement, console.write, within which I am trying to tell that enter the number. Okay. So the number is entered. And after that, I want to read the number from the console. So a conversion process is carried out. Number is equal to int 32 dot parse. This statement, number is equal to, I am writing. So what is it doing? This particular int 32 dot parse. What is it doing is, it will be converting the method. This particular console dot uh, console.readline method is a text method. Okay. So what am I doing? Console.readline. It is trying to read the variable, and it will be converting into the integer type and will be storing in the number. I'll repeat again. Generally, the console.readline statement is a text method. Okay. I can say it is a string method. Anything that is read will be in the form of text only. Students hereafter will be writing this particular kind of code in the console. What happens in the console.readline? So console, I can directly say console.readline, and it will read the particular content. But while it is reading, since it is a string method, it should be converted into the integer form, because number is an integer data type. So what happens? It will be converting the data that is read from the keyboard, that is received from the keyboard, will be converted into integer format with this int 32 dot parse. The parsing int 32 dot parse, what does it do? This parse method will be called here, and it will be converting the data that is read through the console.readline statement into the integer format, and will be storing the value in the number. Okay. So that is why whenever an output state, when input statement is written, we will be writing into 32 dot parse console.readline. Okay. So this is the output statement, and this is the input statement. Okay. We are not having any marker here. So now what are we doing? While reading the data, we are going to check if a number that what we wish is entered or not. So that number input statement checking is done here. If number is less than 10, then I want a prompt to be written as number is less than 10. Okay. Okay. If number is less than 100. So since I am telling it is an else if statement, I have to add else if. I just copied and pasted here. That's all. Else if number is less than 100. What output statement I should write? Number is less than 100. Okay. If, else if, and then finally should be the else part. See, I'm not following any measures like keeping E as a caps and remaining a small. I just wrote it here. Automatically, it changed the code. Else, console dot read line, console dot write line. I am not following any security measures. Automatically, it is converting. Console dot write line, an invalid number. And it, okay. And now I wanted to tell you something. Let me run this code and let us see what happens. One more line has to be added. I am purposely not adding it. Let us just run and see this. Enter the number. Okay, I have entered the number. So you cannot see the screen. So the screen is not displayed. So for this, what I have to do is console dot read line. See, console dot read line statement is added. So what happens? What does this console dot read line statement do? This particular, now let us run and see, and you will see. Enter a number. I have entered. The number is less than 100. Now you are able to see the method. So this console.read line that we have used here, what is it doing? The console.read line method is making you to be able to see the particular screen. Okay. Without this console.read line, user will not be able to see the input that he has inserted. So what happens? It will be available until the next new line is detected. So this is a simple program for the if else statement. Let us save this. Let us go back to the if else. Okay. The first statement is if else statement we are telling. The second type of statement is select case. The second, okay. In the selection statements, first one is if else statement, second one is select case statement. Let us first discuss about the select case statement. We are telling select case. What is a select case statement? Like we have been, we are very much familiar about this select case statement. We will be talking about the case statement. Okay. So what does the select case statement does is it compares each and every value that is given in the expression with the other values, with the different values of other expressions. And if the case statement is matched with the specified expression, then the program control is transferred to the particular statement which is matched. And as a result, what happens? The statements inside the case statement will be executed. Okay. Let us see the syntax for the select case statement. Select CASE case. Now you see, select the space case. This case is written C as caps and remaining small letters. Then the test expression. Okay. Then case expression. Whatever the case expression list, that list will be given. This particular case expression list will contain a particular list of statements to be evaluated. Those list of statements will be written. Then finally, case else part for the case will be written. So this is like the switch case we have discussed. We are familiar with the C programming. Okay, case else part will be written. In the case else part, else statements, else list of statements will be written. And finally, end select. So this is the select case. Select case, the text expression is given. Then the case expression list will be given. If it involves a list of statements, the list of statements will be given. The else case will be evaluated, else case and its list of statements. Then finally the end select statement. Okay. So what happens? This test expression will be compared with the list of expressions in each case. There will be case expression list, case 1, case A, case B, case C, case 3, or case 1, case 2, case 3, case 4. Like multiple cases will be there. Usually we will be using them to find the colors or the whether the given number is in the particular range. Those range of values will be compared with the select case statements. Okay, so the text expression will be given here, and that text expression will be compared with this list of cases that are involved. And in case switch case, we will be having a default case. Default case, that default case is here known as the else case. Okay, C caps. So case else and the list of case else statements will be written, and then finally the end select. So here the end will be, the selection case will be ended. Okay, let us see in practically how this particular thing will be evaluated. Let us go back again. Then it is saved. Then go to file, select new project is selected, new project. From the new project, Visual Basic is selected, console application. Now I am going to name my program as select case. Okay, program name is given as select case. Okay, I have saved it. Now a new module is created, and here I am going to write dim again number as is already prompted. I'm selecting it, and what do you say? Just clicking on the space bar, automatically the selected content is displayed. As an integer are automatically prompted, and I just selected them. So now again console dot write. What is my condition? I'm selecting it, console dot write. Enter the number. Enter the number. Now again the same conversion process, number is equal to int 32 dot parse console dot read line, console dot read line. Okay, now we will start our case. Select escapes. You can see, since I have not written SC, it is not displayed. See again, it is changed. Select case. What is the case we are writing? Number is our case. The expression, the select case expression is number, case 1, 2, 4. Console dot write line, console dot write line. Write line I have selected. The number is between 1 and 4. The case, first case is, if the case is selected between 1 and 4, 1 to 4, we should be prompting like this. Next again, case 5, 6. You see, it is automatically adjusting the lines. Console dot write line. The number is 5 or 6. Five or 6. Okay. Next case. Case 7 to 10. Again enter. Console dot read line. Sorry, console dot write line. The number is between 7 and 10. Okay. So these are the three cases we have considered. 1 to 4 is one case, 5, 6 one case, 7 to 10 one case. Okay. So finally, what are we doing? We are going to write the else case. Okay. So I'm writing case else. What should be my case else? Case else should be writing a default statement, default condition. Default statement should be written here. Console dot write line. So if it is not between 1 to 10, I should write the number is not between 1 to 10. Between we are using, so we should write 1 and 10. Okay, we automatically end select. It is ended. So again, after this particular part, I should write console dot read line. It is a must, as we have seen. Okay, now let us save this. Let us run the code. Enter the number. I am entering 3. So the number is between 1 and 456. The number is not between 1 and 10. Okay. So this is the selection case. So next statements are, selection statements are over. Then we have to discuss about the iteration statements. What are the iteration statements? So iteration statements are nothing but the statements that will be a particular loop will be created, like we will see. So what happens in the iteration statements? There will be a block of code between which the execution, if this is the first block, I say these are the lines of codes that are involved in the particular block. So what will happen in this particular iteration? The block of code that is between these opening and closing parentheses, that particular block of code will be executed first, and then we are calling it as iteration. Iteration is nothing but it will execute a set of statements repeatedly. The word iteration itself implies that repetition. I can say it will repeatedly executes a particular or specific set of code. Repeatedly executes a specific set of code is known as the iteration. Okay. So there are, if I say I want my code to be executed for 10 times, it will be executed for 10 times. It will be, if I want it to be executed for 9 times, it will be executed for 9 times. So what will I do? Before this, I will just specify that I less than 100, if I say, until the I value is, initially I will write I is equal to 1. So from 1 to 100, 99 times the loop will be repeatedly roaming around, and once the I value is increased to 100, it will be executed. So I is initialized to 1. Then I is, the condition is given as I should be less than 100. Now I will write I is equal to I plus 1. Now what happens? I is incremented. So this is the declaration, initialization, this is the condition, and this is the incremental statements. So the for loop, basically we'll have for loop, while loop, do while loop, different types of iteration loops, isn't it? So what does the iteration statements do is they will create a loop within which the particular list of code will be rotated or iterated. So in this particular loop, there are two types of while loop and for loop are the two types of basic looping statements we have learned until now. In this particular Visual Basic, there are two types of for loops and one while loop, and the other one is do loop. We don't call it as do while like we call in C, we call it as do loop. For loop is of two types I am telling, right? First one is for each, and the other one is for next. These are the two types of for loops. One is for each and the other one is for next. First one is while loop, for each, for next, and the other one is do loop. Totally four types of looping statements we are going to discuss now. Okay. First one is for next statement. Let us discuss about the for next. I purposely did not prepare the PPT because so that we can be discussing about the concept like we do in the classroom. Okay. For loop. It is like a basic for statements that we have learned until now. So for next statement is used when you want to execute a group of statements repeatedly for a specific number of times. So those specific number of times, like I said in the earlier example, you will be deciding that. Okay. So let us know the syntax for the for loop. For counter as data type is equal to start to end. This two is the keyword actually. Start to end, which means that we are giving we are giving the condition or boundary where it should be start step and again step. Okay. Next, the list of statements that you want to be written, those list of statements will be written. And if you want to continue, you will continue for and again the statements and exit for, then the exit for statements will be written, then next the counter will be given here. So this is basically the syntax. So what happened? Initially the counter is set. So counter is created. As data type is nothing but the counter variable is created, and we will give the what is the starting value and ending value for the counter. And then each time during the looping cycle, what happens? Counter will be incremented by 1. There is no increment statement written here. Automatically by default, the first statement will be incrementing it. Okay. But incrementation is done by one value. I is equal to I plus 1. Like that, Okay. If you want to increase, you can increment the counter more than 1. But by specifying a positive value in the first statement. If you want, you can also increment it more than 1, but you have to specify a positive value in the first statement. Okay. So here by default, the value is set to 1. So the incrementation will be done by 1 only. Okay. I is equal to I plus 1. Like here we have written here, by default, the counter value will be incremented by 1. Okay. So when the value of this particular value I is reached to end, whatever the end we have written, that particular end value, here the end value is 100, I am telling. When it is reached to 100, what happens? The loop will be ending. Okay. Let us do a sample program for this. Again, save this, go to file, new, and in the new project will be selected, Visual Basic Console. You make sure that they are selected. Okay. And here I need to give a name for my code. I am giving for next, and I am saving it. So a new will be code window will be coding window will be created for me. New console application, I should say. Again, I want number. Let n should be number. Caps lock is on. It is used. number as I want it to be integer type only. Same number as integer, again console dot write line. So write line output statement I am writing. It's a simple program. I'm telling interaction using for next statements. Okay. Next for number. So this is the variable that I have created here. Okay. Dim as integer. It is specifying number is an integer. Number as is an integer data type. So for number is equal to 1 to console dot write line. I'm trying to print the number, that's all. Number. See, when I try to type for number is equal to don't disturb my class here after, okay? So what am I trying to do? I am trying to use the for next statement. Here I have created a variable number variable and the number is initialized to 1 and I have given the range to 3. Ante my value number value should be uh, looping 1, 2, 3, only 3 values. Console.writeLine, I'm trying to print the number. So the loop will be rotated to 3 times, that's all. 1, 2, 3. Whenever the loop is rotated, the number is printed. We first initialize it, number is initialized to 1. Then next, automatically, next is created. I did not write any statement for the next. So when I typed automatically, next is created by the system itself. It is prompted automatically. Console.readline. I am not giving any next condition here. Look at this. What we have seen here for counter as data type. This as data type is used here whenever you are going to create the counter variable here itself. Since we have not created here, that is why these angular brackets, these brackets are optional. If you want, you can use it. If you don't want, you need not to use it. This as data type. What I did for counter my counter variable is number. For number, starting value 1 to ending value 3 as given. I excluded this counter part and this particular this angular brackets part because these are optional. And here there are so many angular brackets. This is also optional. If you want, you can use. If you don't want, you need not to use. Okay, the continuous of for statements, exit for these are optional. So in my program, what I have written, I have only written the for counter, starting and last value. Counter is nothing but number there. Number is 1 2 is equal to 1 2 3. And then what are the statements I have written? I have written an output statement which specifies that right line, whatever the number that is rotated, that particular number will be printed. Okay, that output statement is written. Then here in the next part, if I want to use the counter, I can use the counter. I don't want to use any variable. I just want to use the for next statement. That's all. So next is automatically displayed. I'm trying to write the input statement console.read line to display my input. So now let us see what happens. What does it do is the loop will be repeated for 3 times, and whatever the value that is assigned to number for 3 times, that particular numbers will be printed here. So basically here number is 1, 2, 3. So initially 1 will be printed, then 1 is incremented to 2, 2 will be printed, next 2 is incremented to 3, and 3 will be printed. So 3 times the loop is rotated. See 1, 2, 3. Iteration using for next statement 1, 2, 3. These are the values that are printed. Okay, this is the for next statement. Let us discuss about the for each statement and then we'll conclude today's class. For each next. Next we are discussing about the for each next. So for each next statements, this will also iterate throughout the statements. So whatever the list that is specified there, through those list of statements, it will be iterated. One second. My system is dying. Okay. I think my system is, there is no power and the system is trying to die. There is no battery saver. So I may have to conclude it soon. Okay. For each next is the next first statement that we are going to discuss. So what does it do? The for each next statements, it will be iterating throughout all the list of items that we have mentioned here. Either it can be an array or a collection of objects will be executed. The difference between this is it will be either executing a group of statements for each next, whereas this the individual statements are executed here. So for each next will be executing a group of statements which can be an array or a list of objects. Okay. It will be executed. This for each next statement is similar to the for next statement, only the difference group of statements will be executed. Okay. The syntax for the for each statement, for each next statement is for each the element will be given as the data type. This is optional part which you can, if you have already initialized the or declared the variable, then no problem, you need not to use this as part in group. Then the list of statements. Okay. Then we will continue for loop. And then again the statements. And then again exit for. And then again, if there are any statements involved in that, those statements will be written. And then next, if there are any elements, those elements will be given. It is similar to the above syntax, only the difference is that here in group the data type is given, but here only the start and ending values is given. So let us discuss. So for each element as data type in group is nothing but for, this is the keyword you should use, each. For each is must here. Here for counter you have written here. Okay. So the element is required to be in the for each next statement. The next statement is optional, like we have used in the previous statement. Okay. So the data type, which data type you want to give. For each element is the element, which element you want. In group is nothing but you have to write the group. Okay. Group is nothing but a collection of, it is nothing but the collections based on which the iterations should be repeated. So let us see what happens. Go to file, new project, again Visual Basic console application. Here I will give the name of the program as for Tagda. Okay, so we have created a new console window again. Here let us see what will be the for each next uses. Dim them as integer. Until now we have been creating the variables simply. The statements are written like this, dim num as integer, and then the next list of statements are created. But here we have to give the array. The in Visual Basic array is declared like this. In the next part, next class, we'll discuss how the array will be created. Okay. Here the list of elements for the values for the array, the group of values that have to be stored in the array should also be given here. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. These are the values, 5 values that I have given here. So num is the integer kind of data type, and the group that I have given is 5 values. So this is the group within which the comparison will be done. Now again I'll write the console dot write line output statement. Iteration for each next, simply for our idea, iteration for each next statement. Okay. Now for space each space, automatically it is I as I is the variable, counter variable I am taking. I is the element. Actually in our syntax I have written element. So I is the element that I am taking. Okay. In num. See here, num is the variable that I have created here, and that num range is from 10 to 50. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 range. Group of values that are stored for the num are, or I can say array of values that are stored for the num are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So now for each I as integer in num. Okay. console dot write line I. Let me explain this to you. Console dot read line. So now what is happening? This group of values are given to the num. Now for each I as integer in num, which means that I will be assigned the values list of values that are given in the num variable. So every time this loop is rotated, how many times the loop will be repeated? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Since 5 values are there, 5 times it will be repeated. Okay. When I run this particular statement, what happens with this particular code? The loop will be repeated 5 times, and in num there are 5 values, and each value will be assigned to the element I, and it will be printed. So that is what happens. So here, like in the previous program, we have only given the num as integer variable, that's all, and we have assigned the values in the for each statement. But here in for each next in for statement, but here in for each next statement, what we will do, we are by default giving the predefined list of values are assigned here. Those list of values are printed using the for each next. So what happened here? Iteration for each next statement: 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. The list of values or the group of values that are already given here, those group of values are printed. Okay. This is all for today. I wish and I want you to ask questions. Do you have any questions? Everyone can respond if you have any questions. Or do you want any part to be repeated? No one is there?